what was your life like before you found Friends in Film?
I became a real estate agent as soon as I moved to New York. It's interesting, I was one day surfing on Facebook. I really don't even go that often. I stumbled across this ad. It's like, if you want to be in the acting and if you want to be a director and if you want to be, the screenwriter or, and if you're in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, this is a place for you. I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. I'm in my 30s, and it's like it was a first spark, maybe it's not too late. Maybe still have a chance. And it was chasing me for about, I think I would 3 or 4 months. Like I saw it and I was like, yeah, I want to do it. I'm not sure. Like I have that desire in myself, but every time I think about that, I had a fear of success. So every time I think of the idea, oh my gosh, what if I can really go to that level? I was like, I pulled myself back, like, oh my gosh, I don't know, like if I can do that. And I don't even think I was hesitant even to sign up for the 3 program. How crazy is that, right? And I was like, you're never gonna try. How are you gonna know if something is gonna work or not? So I finally decided after different stage in my life, I was going through depression at the time, and I was really feeling despondent, and I didn't have really a work. Like I was a real estate, but I wasn't working, and all these kind of things. So when I found that time, which was about 3 or 4 months after seeing that ad and just kind of always like overseeing it, and I think I signed up for the email, I believe, and I started receiving all these emails, for the calls and whatnot. And then finally I decided to jump in, and that's how everything kind of started.
Wow. Had you tried to get into the film industry before Friends in Film?
I never thought of the other options, something that Janet is offering. And that's what really, when I went through those 10 days program, really made a lot of sense. Oh my gosh, it's not lost. I'm not lost. There is a way for me to go inside, to cut off on the years, the one that I already kind of wasted. I can't bring my years back. But what I can do, if I go around and use those methods that Janet is teaching, just through those 10 days of program that she was giving for free, I mean, I had pages and pages of notes that I learned. And I just thought of like, wow, this is so valuable. If I already have all this information right on demand right now, and she's just freely giving, how much I can get when I become a member of the program. That was just one part of it. But honestly, prior to the program, I never thought, like I only had that idea, I'm going to become an actor or I'm not going to become an actor. And when I discovered there's so many different departments, interdepartments, and all these different jobs, I was like, there, like, and funny enough, even in New York, I thought there was no production. I thought there was nothing was doing. I mean, that was my mind. I was very, because you don't know where to look, and when you don't know where to look, everything seems so dry. It looks like a desert.
Yeah.
And then you start discovering all this stuff, and you're going through all these modules, and you're discovering the magic list that is in the module 2. It's like, oh my gosh, like you're just like, you just feel like this is crazy. And and it's so much beautiful to know that there's that path that you can just kind of follow and just kind of go from point A to point B, from point B to point C. And if you miss any points, you can always come back and just rewatch and just remind yourself of all these points that you missed along the way or forgot.
So when you found Friends in Film, what were your concerns about it, if you had any?
I haven't had concerns about the program as itself, like what I'm going to be getting, like if it's legit or not. I kind of knew through pretty much a first call that I had with a 10 days program with Janet, like I got it. Like it was like that. Like I was like, yeah, it makes sense. At the stage when I started doing the program, I lost all of the doubts of if it is legit or not, which really kind of let me look forward in terms of like taking benefits from the program rather than to doubt if something is legit or not. So, right away I was like, this is going to work. I just need to put the effort. And that was like the biggest challenge. It was myself making sure that, get over my lower self. That's something that Janet talks a lot. And, I like to use some of the words that she's using because it's a familiar with me, and it's going to be familiar with, other people. And it's really, learning that I'm in control of my life, and you can make it or break it in any way you want. So if you take knowledge and you don't implement, it's almost like not knowing it. So, I know that I needed to work really on myself. But my biggest challenge was at the time that I started with the program, I was like in a debt, like in a big debt. So I think that was like my biggest thing of, when I'm going to be able to start working and start making money back, so I can eventually start paying off the program and then eventually start getting out of my debt. It was like, I think it was over $40,000
Oh, wow. That's a
all
lot.
together. Yeah, that's a lot. So far, I'm almost done with my debt, which is absolutely
Congratulations.
amazing. Thank
That's so
you.
exciting.
But I've been only in program for, I would say, 8 months. I had a lots of work I did since I started the program. I had over like, I think 40 or 50 different gigs that I worked on. I had a lot of recurring gigs, and that was the whole benefit. Like I just get call after call after call, and then I start getting all these different calls. I mean, it's crazy how, when you're listening to on the other side and you're seeing, Janet is talking about, you're going to start working and, you're going to get the calls and you're going to get money. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just wish that was me. And I was like,
Now
that
it
is
is.
me. That is me. And it was so crazy, she was like telling us, like, oh, if you just do the job, and you get paid 150 a day. I was like, what? 150 a day? And now, like, I don't work below 200 just, because I know how much I know and how much I can offer and what I can bring to the table. And, like 200, like I try to kind of go more towards 250.
Mhm.
Again, I don't cancel the job, even if it's below that, but that's kind of my standard. So people already put into the industry, like that's kind of my base in a way.
Mhm.
But people know that, like, and when they call me, it's already kind of expected. That's kind of where we need to start. So if I get a call, I already know that's where I'm kind of starting. But me of thinking just that I can just kind of go 200, 250, 400 a day, I was like, I thought it was like a dreamland. I have reached that I was getting 400 and 500 a day. It was so interesting because I was hired as a PA, and then while we were doing the scouting, which means like you go with a producer, director, and a person who does locations and art department and maybe camera and whatnot, and then we go and see different places, and then they're talking about what they want to do, where they want to shoot, and whatnot. So when we were doing a scouting, I was a driver, so they hired me as a PA. I was hearing the director or assistant director was like on the phone, and he's like, we need a second AC. And I was like, it's me. Like, I was like driving the car, and we were working on this commercial, and I already worked with this person who is a first AC. So he was bound to become a DP, which on the scale, I can take over his job. So I call up my friend that become a DP, and I said, listen, they are looking for our AC. I'm more than happy to do it. You work with me. You can always teach me if I don't know anything. I felt confident because I already worked with him so many different jobs. He's like, absolutely, go for it. So I call up the DP, and I just said, listen, I would love to work. I'm more than equipped with the work. I worked with this guy before, and I'm ready to do it. And he's like, right off there and there, he's like, how much would you like? And I was like, I don't know what to say. I didn't know what's a rate or anything. Yeah. But you know what? It was so interesting. Like my mind just like, so how much do you usually guys offer? Like, I don't know. I just came up with that sentence. I didn't know. I almost kind of went back to him. I didn't give him an offer. Like I fired back. Like he's like, how much would you like? And then I said, but how much do you usually pay? And he said 400. I said, I'm fine with 400. I was like, I was like, I didn't even know how I was holding myself. But when he said 400, I almost dropped my phone and I almost fall on the floor.
Yeah.
Because from 150 to 400, it's a $250 difference. So the gig was a 4-day gig, and I did 2 days as a PA. They still paid me that. And then I got 2 days as a second first AC. And that I was paid 400. And I have a little small video that I posted. You know, my check for 4 days was like $1,300.
Yeah.
So that itself, just 4 days gig, paid how many months of the program?
Yeah,
Probably
that's like
5 months.
that's half the program at least.
And the funny thing, I was hired as a PA. And because I was there and I worked with a guy and he liked me and people liked me, you know, I was able to talk over the whole idea and get the job. I got hired once and then I started keep calling me. But prior to that, I did my dues. I went to the film schools. I did all the work that, you know, Janet is talking about in terms of gaining experience. Right away, like I was on top of it, you know, the module one says do this, do this, do that. I was like bam, bam, bam. The second module, do this, do this, do that. You know, network, whatnot. It's not like you're lucky enough. You go for it, you chase for it. Of course, you're gonna stumble across great people. So if I was sitting at the home and just doing nothing and just prayed for, you know, things to happen, you know, will never probably happen. But I was outside, you know, I was networking, I was meeting people. So to make the long story short, you know, it took me, I think, about less than a month since I started that I got my first paid job. I think I was, when that happened was when I was, I think, at module 2 or 3.
How much money were you earning before and how much money are you earning now? Either per month or per week?
Prior to the program, you know, as I said, I was in real estate. So that's kind of, you know, you close the deal, you make the money. And I was going through the period that, you know, I wasn't really in a good place. You know, I was very despondent and whatnot. So I wasn't really making any money, to be honest, you know, and the bills were piling up and whatnot. In about 6 months, I think I made about 12 to 15 grand, 12 to 15K. This is a film, only film.
What would you say has been your biggest success so far in the program?
The support that we have for each other. And for me, that I become a mentor. That's my biggest success. The day that I start program and I saw these mentors, I just had a great vision. I wanted to be there.
So what made you take the leap and decide to do the paid mentorship program?
It's us. And knowing that I have us as a support was a big deal for me, you know, because in the early stage, you know, I was really independent. I needed the support, you know, in every aspect, which was first and foremost, it was the modules. You know, that's such a great, in my own time, you know, I can take the time and go over the modules and go over and over and over. If I have a question, I can just pause and, you know, write it down. I can write on the group. I can ask other members if somebody already have done that. I mean, what a great concept that not only that we have modules, then we have a supporting groups, and then on top of it, we have Janet. Are you kidding me? I mean, it's a no-brainer. Like, I love her from the moment I saw her. I knew that is it. You don't go to the supermarket expecting to get groceries and not pay for it. You've got to pay in order to have the food that you want. And this is a food for your brain. This is the road to the success. It's like just inserting in your brain. And now when you have that, now you can move forward. But if you don't have that, you never know. And you feel like, well, it is what it is. I got as much as I can. But that was my mentality. And I switched that thinking and it just made sense. And now I'm grateful that I did that.
Where do you think you would have been now if you hadn't done the program?
I think I will be just laying in the bed. You know, I will probably be even more despondent, and I will be probably more depressed if I haven't really gotten into the program personally for myself. Like, I really feel like I will probably, you know, be back with, like, you know, drinking and, you know, like doing all this, you know. Finally, I was able to wake up, and just this program really helped me get back on my feet.
What did your parents think about this program, and were they supportive of you acting?
I did told them on the Skype that, you know, I joined this program and this is great, and they were very supportive in terms of the idea of me, you know, getting back to my feet. But, you know, if they were with me, probably they would be a little bit resistant. But I finally make the other key point that I was able to get myself into was I didn't really care at that point. It was really what I really wanted. I made the decision. I needed this for myself. And even if I get 100 no, I'm still going to go for it. And if I share that with him, he probably would say like, are you kidding me? Come on, don't waste your time. You're too old. Blah, blah, blah. But I kept the secret up until become big enough that you couldn't keep. That people from other parts like, oh my gosh, he's in production. Are you serious? And then I start showing the pictures and celebrities that I work with. And then I did this shot and then I did that shot. So now it's a different way of seeing, because guess what? I had the results.
As far as work stuff, what type of jobs do you usually get? Are you mostly working on commercials, features, TV shows, all of the above?
In terms of like the jobs that I'm getting, I worked on the TV shows, I work on commercials, I work on the, lingerie, like, the shoots. I just did the shoot with with a Tiffany. I don't know if, I can share that, but it was like, that's a big one.
What would you tell someone who's watching this video, who's thinking about doing the mentorship program?
Just do it. Very simple. You have really nothing to lose, but there's so much to gain. You may not be successful, right? We can think, if everything in life, we can think, well, it's not going to work. What if you give a chance and you do? If you never tried, it's always going to be no, right? If you never give a chance, the answer is no. But if you try, the answer may be yes. And if you have a route that you can succeed 100 times faster, why wouldn't you go for it? Because of a small monthly payment? Are you serious? It's like a small I honestly thought, like, when I started the program, the payment was already low, and that she kind of chopped it into like 8 months, like you can pay over a month. It's a no-brainer for me. It was a no-brainer for me. Through the career of FIRE, you will know if this is for you or not. If you know that this is for you, don't second guess it. Just go for it. If you feel like, I didn't get anything out of it, I don't think this can help me, then don't go for it. But if you extract a little bit of it, I would say do it.
Would you recommend people going to film school or doing this program?
I work with so many people in the film schools, and they all look at me like, oh my gosh, this guy is smart, and I know I'm smart. Like such a small investment, you get right off the bat the support, you have right away all necessary tools to succeed, you have the way to get into the business right there and there and start making money and pay off your school, working the job that you are paying for through the program. It was amazing. People who are going to school, and I have nothing against that. That's great. And I want to go back to school to learn. That's a different aspect. But in order for school doesn't prepare you for what is coming up in the real life. They don't teach you how to get a job. They don't teach you like how to, get on these fields. Like they just give you the technical parts, but then you really need to figure it out yourself. And we have a 20 plus years of experience in short 8 months that you can just absorb and just explode. And in terms of the pricing, it's a no-brainer for me. But the main thing, it's a timing. It's really a timing. Do I really have 4 years of a time to invest? And there's so many people that we already know who went through the school and they didn't get what they want, and they took the program, and now they're really benefiting from program, but school helped. But school didn't help them to get the job. It just gave them one part. But there's another part. It's a business part. That's what Janet is teaching us, and that's what we can really learn. I'm not 20 years old anymore. I'm not 80. I'm older. But now I can think on the different way. I'm thinking on the other way around. I'm working in the business. I'm making connection. I start learning what I love. I got my niche. I'm going for my dreams. And guess what? Now I can go to school to learn. Not for the degree or anything else. It's really to extract more out of it when I have a free time, rather than spending 4 or 5 years, being in all this debt with all this scholarship and all this money that you need to pay for. Well, make your decision. But, for me, it was really clear, this was the right way to go.